So if I don't want to be complacent, but I do like watching video on the internet, the obvious thing to do is not be complacent about how I watch video on the internet. To that end, I am engaging in a media diet. I think I'm going to try and only consume content made by female creators for the next 30 days until August 25th. So, when August 25th comes around, you can bet your buttocks that I'm going to be going back and binging Loading Ready Run, Run Button, and Limited Resources. Probably questionable content, too. Um, but this will necessitate finding a lot of female creators, because I consume a lot, well, normally I consume a lot of content, with work maybe less so lately. But I don't have enough female creators in my existing feeds that I can be satiated on what they produce. So I gotta go out and find more. Which is kind of like the point of this whole exercise. This is something that wouldn't have been needed if I hadn't gone to these radical measures. Yes, it feels ridiculous to unfollow XKCD and Feedly. It's like, there's the little X button next to the whatif.xkcd.com, and you're like, what is that X button even for? Why would anyone ever unsubscribe from this feed? Well, I did. I clicked it. I was just like, oh, this is what we gotta do. This is how we gotta shake things up. And so, hopefully that will be exciting. GitHub is better than I could ever have hoped for posting text for the Visible Person project. It's got a lot of stuff on there. And it's better than I could have ever hoped, but really lacking in software support. There's not a push client for Android. And naturally, stuff is super locked down at work, and I don't have time to do anything at work anyway. But, well, I have some time to do things at work. We are studying for a test, as you'll know if you read that text content. I don't know. The tests are super weird, because they should be super easy, but they're like closed book tests over software that you can know about by looking at the software. It's like, why would I ever need to know what an interface looks like without being able to see that interface, because usually I can see it right in front of me. I was optimistic when I came to this company that I wouldn't have to deal with that ever again, because one of the faculty within the company was all like, we think closed book tests are kinda dumb, which of course they are. But this is not some internal thing. This is for a certification that just exists in the world that anybody could theoretically get. I received a message, like, very early into the recording of this video, and I'm like, do I stop recording so that I can check this message? It might be from Veronica, in which case I want to see it and respond promptly. But I would have to splice these together. And probably not from Veronica. It's probably like just some dumb email. But what it is? No. I've invested enough now that to stop it would be, well, it would be a bad investment in the optimal stopping problem, which I don't know, I don't have a good name for it. David Malky posted a blog post describing it under the name, it was the wine lover's dilemma, but it was some other type. It used a fancy word for wine lover, like unephile. And the idea is, if wine gets better with age, when do you drink it? And when do you keep waiting for it to get better? Another variation I know of is the bus stop problem, where the bus is late, and you could start walking home, and you have to gamble on the fact that the bus is not going to get here 30 seconds after you leave the bus stop. Just taking risks on blind numbers is nonsense, because there's no justice to it. My brain has a harder time with it, because it's like, there's no morally correct answer. And you can be results oriented after the fact and be like, okay, I did a thing and it was right, or I did a thing and it was wrong. But before, it's just like I just have to accept a probability, and none of the probabilities are very good. They're not what I want.